What's going on, family? This is Scrapbook Boxing Museum of the Forgotten Fisticuffs series. I want to take a look at Peter Felix. Peter Felix was 6 foot 3 inches tall. He weighed 180 pounds, and he was born July 17, 1866, in St. Croix, Danish West Indies. He moved to Australia as a kid, and he died November 10th, 1926. He was 60 years of age at the time of his death. Now, 1926 would be the year the Manasseh Mauler, Jack Dempsey, would lose his heavyweight championship belt to the Fighting Marine, Gene Tunney. They fought once in Philadelphia, and then he fought in Soldiers Field, and that would be the famous long count in 1927. But Peter Felix would have 52 total bouts, 24 wins. He would lose 20 fights. He would be stopped himself 10 times, and he would have 7 draws. Now, Peter Felix was born in St. Croix, West Indies. It is to my understanding that the Black Prince, Peter Jackson, was the first cousin of Peter Felix. It is also to my understanding that the Black Prince, Peter Jackson, was in Peter Felix's corner many times in support of his cousins becoming the next colored heavyweight and Australian heavyweight champion. Now, Peter Felix began his professional debut in 1894, where he scored a 12-round knockout over Dan Keeley in Melbourne, Australia. In 1895, he had 3 very impressive victories over Joe Goddard, the Wild Man. Now, Joe Goddard, just to give you a background on him, he weighed 183 to 200 pounds. He had a 72-inch reach, and he stood 6 foot tall. I mean, he was very tall at that time. He had 28 wins, 22 knockouts, 12 losses, 8 draws, and 6 no decisions. He defeated fighters such as Denver Ed Martin. Now, Denver Ed Martin held the colored heavyweight championship belt, and he lost it in 1903 to Jack Johnson. Joe Goddard also faced Joe Joanski. Joe Joanski was a neighbor of Gentleman Jim Corbett. In fact, they faced each other several times. Joe Joanski fought Jack Johnson. And doing my research, I understand Joe Joanski tutored Jack Johnson in prison while they were incarcerated, perfecting his craft. Joe Goddard also faced Peter Maher. And Peter Maher was in a ring with the middleweight, light heavyweight, and heavyweight champion, Bob Fitzsimmons. 1902, Joe Goddard was shot in the head after swinging a baseball bat at a police officer in a park in Philadelphia. He was then transferred to a hospital for 1 month. He was released with a bullet still in his head and arrested once again for an assault of a medical staff. He was forced to go to prison because he couldn't post bail. The bail was $1,000. Then he was transferred to Blackwell Insane Asylum, then transferred to Cooper Hospital. He died January 21st, 1903. 1903 would be the year that Jack Johnson would become the colored heavyweight champion of the world. Now, Joe Goddard's body was donated to the Philadelphia Medical College for medical research. He was inducted to the Australian National Hall of Fame in 2006. Now, Peter Felix's biggest opponent was Mick Dooley. He defeated Mick Dooley 2 out of 3 bouts. He defeated Dan Keeley for the victory's 5-round knockout. And he earned the victory's title. It was a title given to the winner of that day. And he defeated Joe Goddard in defense of that title. He also defeated Starlight Rollins to a draw. He would also have a draw with Mick Dooley, Tut Ryan, and Bill Daughtry. Now in 1890s were the depressing years. Money was scarce, and Felix traveled, competing in bouts that were unsanctioned for the troops preparing for a war. He would fight his cousin Peter Jackson in a 25-round draw. Now Peter Jackson also had a 61-bout draw with Gentleman Jim Corbett. In fact, that bout with Gentleman Jim Corbett allowed Gentleman Jim Corbett to face John O'Sullivan for a shot at the title. And there was no way Peter Jackson was going to be allowed to win that fight, because Corbett was next in line to face John O'Sullivan, because John O'Sullivan already made it clear that he would never face a black fighter for the title. So Peter Jackson was always ahead, and they kept going the next round to see what Jim Corbett would do. Could he stop Peter Jackson? And he was unable to stop Peter Jackson, so they called it to a halt in 61 rounds. Now Peter Felix would face Peter Jackson in Melbourne, Australia. Now he captured the convert Australian heavyweight title in 7 rounds by knocking out Bill Daughtry. Between 1907 and 1908, he faced Big Bill Lane. Felix was 41 years of age when he faced Bill Lane. Fought him 3 times for the title. Once against Bill Daughtry and twice against Bill Lane. Peter Felix died November 10th, 1926 of a heart failure. He was introduced into the Australian National Hall of Fame. Peter Felix was a sport, meaning his shoes were shinier than a glazed donut, and he wore the best 3-piece suit money can buy. He had a linen handkerchief. He had one of the best top hats that you can sponsor and purchase. Silk ties, suspenders. Perhaps that's why the boxing career came to a halt. Because after Peter Felix was able to earn enough money to take care of himself, which is what he did, he went out in the nightlife, as I said, with the best shoes and the best clothes. He was the talk of the town. Women adored him. But the one thing he doesn't have in comparison to his cousin, the Black Prince, Peter Jackson, he never won the Australian Heavyweight Championship or the Colored Heavyweight Championship belt. I just wanted to introduce you to Peter Felix. He was a Jack Johnson opponent. He was a cousin of Peter Jackson. Thanks for hanging in there with me. This is Scrapbook Boxing, stating all great fights and all great fighters will never be forgotten on my channel. Salute to my subscribers. Salute to Peter Felix.